Hello, good evening.
Hello. We'll get started in a few. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Dr. Dean, I'll be controlling the PowerPoint, so if you want to give me permission to share, that would be awesome.
I just gave it to you, so you test to see if you have it. Excellent.
Good evening. Good seeing you, Dr. Dean.
Good to see you. Okay, we're gonna give some more time. People are registering it, but I'm not seeing why they're not coming in. I'm getting registration requests, so.
No problem.
It's saying the Zoom link is not working.
I had to click, let it do that, log out of my Zoom and then log back in. I don't know if it's like a everybody's getting on a Zoom right now movement, but
I'm getting a lot of, interesting. Okay, here comes somebody, but they were in already. Here comes some people, a few people. Strange. Okay. Well, I don't know what's going on. I'm hitting, letting people in. It's doing a weird thing today.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me and it kept bouncing me back. Hi,
But
John. It's good to see you.
Hey. Hi, how are you? It's been so long.
strange,
Good. I know it
strange,
has
strange.
Christina.
Yeah, it's definitely good to see you. Like a blast from the past
I
in a good
know.
way.
I was just reading about it was mentioned in a WMAU article. Carl's name came up. I was like, oh, I just thought about
Still around.
yeah,
Marla, John and I worked together at the Office of the Attorney General under Carl Racine. So we know each other from way back.
yeah, way back in the day.
Okay. Well, we got more. I can tell you, I don't know about you guys, but Zoom has been doing its own thing from in a lot of meetings that I've been a part of recently. So
Oh no.
and people saying, I'm trying to get in. Okay.
That was me.
You were one of them. Yep.
Yeah.
Here it is. Okay, we're going to try and get started, even though I have people in a loop. I don't know what the loop is, so they're not easily coming in, but we're gonna get started. I'm gonna give it 2 more minutes just to try and get some more people who you had to re-register again, Christina? That
Yeah.
don't make sense to me. Because
Mimi.
once you register, you're registered. So I don't understand.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had to re-register too. No idea why.
Okay, that is strange to me. Okay, we are at time to begin. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to Ward 7 Education Council May 2025 meeting. And we're really excited to have you here. And I am going to try and turn down the music a little bit so that we can make sure we're hearing everyone. And I apologize for those of you who had some difficulty getting in. I don't know why it made you re-register. I don't know why it was kind of in a loop, but I'm glad to have you here. So, as we always say, that this will go out in our newsletter. It is also on our YouTube channel. And so, many more than actually show up to our meetings actually view, because we can look at the viewer numbers. So, but we want to encourage people to actually come to the meeting and have the direct conversation and not just listen in for informational purposes. We want you to engage. So please actually attend. With that being said, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. And we want to encourage everyone to participate in the process of helping to break the stigma around what mental health mental health is not, and how it is viewed in our communities, in our families, in our homes. Everyone has to attune to their mental health, just like they do their physical health. This is the month to have the conversation. So thank you. Here's our agenda for tonight. Welcome from me. So welcome again. Then we will hear from John Carlos Green, Community Engagement Manager, DC Public Charter School Board, who's going to come and talk to us about Aspire. Aspire is the DC Public Charter School Board's new accountability tool. And so we want to hear about that, get updates, and just share information. We want people informed. And then we'll have our update from our state board rep, Eboni-Rose Thompson, as well as we'll vote on our officers for 2025. We'll be voting on vice chair and parliamentarian for this year. Those are the positions that are up at this point. We'll have announcements and then we'll adjourn. So with that, a hearty welcome to everyone. Welcome to Ward 7 Education Council. You know, our newsletter is getting a lot of traction. I get a lot of feedback. People are asking me questions from the newsletter. I'm seeing the click rates. They're really good, like 75%. So that is huge. And we have a pretty robust list. But again, we want you at the meeting. Don't just rely on the newsletter. Don't just rely on our YouTube channel to be informed. So thank you for your participation, but please come be in the room, be in the arena so we can have a robust conversation, community conversation. With that, I just always like to just talk about the mission of Ward 7 Ed Council. I think it's always important. And we really are advocating for high quality community-based public education. And we focus on matter of right, but we understand and support, and we understand that many of our students are not in matter of right schools. And so we absolutely want to support those students, those communities, and those schools. So, and we focus on early childhood, pre-K, and even through 12 and even adult learners. So our core values are equity, access, health and safety, joy, and responsiveness. And our goals are that every student deserves a high quality education, and that we want Ward 7 schools to be the destination for Ward 7 families. And we want to protect and establish and have strong feeder patterns in our district, in our ward. So with that being said, we want to bring forward, we're excited to bring forward John Carlos Green, Community Engagement Manager, Public Charter School Board, who is going to talk about what's going on and on the charter school side of education and updates and all the things so that parents can be fully understand how their schools are being assessed. I don't want to say evaluated, but assessed is, I guess, a word that I would use that I think is more appropriate, and how that tool can help schools continuously improve and also inform parents about what is happening in that school. So without further ado, I am going to stop sharing and I'm going to hand it over to you. John, I'm sure that was a absolutely inadequate introduction. So anything you want to share about who you are, please fill in the gaps, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dean. My name is John Carlos Green. I manage community engagement, as Dr. Dean mentioned earlier. And I should mention that I will be co-presenting this evening with Tamika Bowden, and she is the Chief External Affairs Officer. So we'll be co-presenting today. We're really excited to be here. And so I'll let her start off by introducing herself.
Unmute. Good evening, everyone. It's so great. Thank you so much, Dr. Dean, for the introduction. It is always great to talk to my neighbors. I live here in Ward 7, and we are super excited to tell you a little bit more about Aspire. This is a high-level presentation that we'll talk a little bit about Aspire, and then we want to close out by telling you about the charter reviews, which may be something that you've heard about as well. But PCSB has been working with school leaders, national experts, the DC Charter Alliance, and families to revise our accountability system. We call it Aspire, and we truly believe it's going to be good for students, good for schools, and good for education. So tonight, we'll, like I said, you'll learn more about Aspire. You'll gain some insights into the development and the components of this academic evaluation system, and understand how it supports our mission to improve student learning and achievement. And we hope that we'll leave you with some ways that we potentially can work together and support one another as we directly work to implement Aspire.
All right, so what do we do? So the DC Public Charter School Board, part of our role is to advocate for things for public charter schools. Things that work, we're responsible for monitoring, for evaluating, for reporting, and analyzing specific aspects of an LEA or school to ensure they're efficient and that they are achieving their overall mission. We do this in 3 ways. We monitor and evaluate their academics. We have financial reviews, and we make sure that they are compliant. Public charter schools are a place that we want all students to thrive regardless of their socioeconomic backgrounds. And Aspire is really one tool that we use to do our academic oversight work and where we spend our time, where we'll spend the majority of our time today. All right, so this is a chart that
We're
highlights
not,
kind
just so you know,
of.
we're not seeing any
You're not
PowerPoint.
seeing, okay,
So before you get too
I can
engrossed.
see it, Dr.
Dang
Dean.
it.
Oh, you can?
Can you see it?
Okay. But
I
then
can
I can't.
I can
Is
see
it
it.
large
full.
though? Are you sharing the slideshow? Because it's not large enough.
Yeah, it's the slideshow. Can you see the slideshow?
I
Dr.
can
Dean?
see it also.
Yes, Zoom went and created tabs, which makes everything really delightful.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you have to just click on the tab at the top and then it should show up.
Let me know if
Like if you click on John
you
Green's
can't see
screen,
it.
Can you see it
then
now,
you should be able-
Doctor?
I mean, I want to make sure it's showing for the
For the
recording.
camera.
Yeah, so help me to get to it. What do I need to do to make sure it's showing?
if you click at the very, I'm hoping it's the same as mine, Doctor, but if at the very top, one of the tabs might say
There it
meeting
is.
and the other one
There
might
it
say
is.
John Green's.
Yep, I see it totally. Okay, this is a
Okay.
new feature.
Yeah,
I'm
and it
sorry.
should show up for the video since we're presenting,
Okay.
and this is the thing on the screen.
Okay, I just want to
Should
make
probably-
sure. I don't want anyone to lose it. Okay, thank you.
And
Make it a
we'll
little bit
share,
larger, John Carlos.
make it a little bit larger.
Yeah.
Okay. How does that
Perfect.
look good? Okay. Awesome. All right. So we have a long history of academic accountability. At the heart of the public charter school authorizer relationship is the academic accountability piece. In our earlier years, we did this through something that you all may recall. It was called the PMF. And then more recently, from about 2020 to 2022, the PMF was not published. These were the COVID-19 impact policy was implemented. And then we began our engagement and work with school leaders, with the public on Aspire development. And that began, those external and internal conversations began around 2019. So for those who don't know, Aspire stands for the Annual School Performance Index Report and Evaluation. All right, I'll continue. So
Oh, I'm
why?
sorry. I was on mute.
That's okay.
I love Zoom still. So why do we take the time to revise our accountability system? About 3 years ago, we launched our strategic roadmap by speaking with board members, school leaders, education partners, elected officials, parents. We even, you all even participated in completing a survey and gave us a lot of really good feedback. And one of the things that kept coming up was the need to revise our academic accountability system. So that led to staff working with leadership and school leaders to think about what are the things that were most important that we heard in those conversations that we needed to elevate in our system. And those things were that we needed a system that evaluated student group performance, one that prioritized academic growth along with proficiency, that there was an opportunity to further differentiate between the framework. So PMF had 3 levels. This framework has 5. And there was an opportunity to explore and really delve in to some of the measures. And you'll see that we have a couple of new measures that really allow schools to show their unique characteristics. So after years of development and a lot of engagement, our board approved the policy that created Aspire last year. So Aspire aims to achieve excellent schools for students, and we are particularly focused on those that are furthest from opportunity. We see this framework having an opportunity for everyone to be involved. The board will use it to make oversight decisions, just as we did with the PMF. So think of whenever a school becomes before us to seek to educate more students or to add another campus, this will be the framework. We hope that school leaders will use it to really identify areas that they are strong in, but really delve deep into those student groups or places that they know that there's more opportunity for them to improve, that really gets their students to a level of progress and achievement. We believe that families will definitely use this as a way to determine what schools are the best fit for their student. And more importantly, we would like for you to use it to truly home in on ways that you can support schools better with resources.
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the 5 levels of Aspire and show how some of these ways and why Aspire is good for everyone. By increasing from 3 levels to 5, we expand school performance distinction and raise the bar across the board. A school that's rated level 1, that's the highest level, it's exemplary performance. A school at level 5 would be unsatisfactory and needs to improve. Schools are rated in the middle are at 3 with satisfactory performance and are doing well. This is a departure from our PMF. While schools rated 2 have a strong performance and schools at 4 have a weaker performance and also need to improve. The addition of the 2 added levels in Aspire increase visibility of students who are furthest from opportunity and ensure that they are included in the oversight decisions that we make using this tool. As such, measures will be calculated by student groups instead of by all student performances. On this slide, you'll see the 5 levels and the percentage ranges and how they correspond from level 1 to level 5. All right, and this is the Aspire timeline.
Yes. So I'll just breeze through these next couple of slides, but this basically just shows the work that's been done since 2023 up until now. And we're in the place now where schools are actually identifying their school specific performance measures. Think of a SMART goal that is unique specifically to their program. So we anticipate having roughly 68 different ones, and then those will be approved, and the public will start to see data next year. And then we will publicly release scores and levels in the 26-27 school year. This slide just shows all the people that we are talking to about the framework. We want to make sure that individuals understand the core components of it. So this conversation to us is one where it's, hey, this is what's happening, but definitely we'll be back when we have data that we can take, hey, what's happening with, see what is actually happening in schools.
And on this page, we created some resources that we'll share with Dr. Dean. We have a website just dedicated to Aspire with wonderful videos that help explain it to everyone. We have a FAQ as well as a white paper that's on the website. If you'd like to learn more today, feel free to take a quick picture of the QR code here, and that'll take you right directly to our webpage. But we'll make sure to share these resources in an email as well.
And then we just want to breeze through the charter reviews and let you know that PCSB reviews schools every 5 years. So a charter in DC is granted for 15 years, and we review schools every 5 years. And this is the board evaluates those schools in 3 different areas: academics, finances, and compliance to applicable laws. And that is the full review process. And this year we have lots of reviews at the 5, 10, 20, and 25 year mark. And so this is just a timeline so you can see it's based on the operation year of a school. So this year we have 20 schools under review. The board is evaluating roughly about 3 to 4 schools each board meeting. So Monday night was a board meeting. We had 4 schools at that meeting. These are all the schools that are under review at the moment. And so here in the ward, there is Apple Tree, Idea, and Monument that the board will be evaluating. And the board has 3 options. The reviews are based off the school's charter goals, and those options the board will take will either to fully continue the school without conditions, continue the school with conditions, or start the process of revoking the school's charter. We have been recapping the actions of each school at each conversation on our website. So if there's specific information you want to know about what conditions each school received, what happens, that information is detailed on our website, and we'll share those links. But at the same time, our board has also asked that each school is responsible for notifying their families to let their families know about the status of their review. And we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
I just have a couple. Does schools have a duty to notify parents, or they're just encouraged?
This year, the board has required it. It is a condition of their review. So
Okay.
PCSB has given schools a template. They have a deadline by which to send that letter to families. And
Okay.
then they send us a copy and verification of sending that letter to their families.
Okay, and then under Aspire, you said that schools can set one of their own metrics. Is that correct?
They get an opportunity to set 2 metrics. It's
Two
called
metrics.
school-specific performance measures, and those measures are unique to that school. So if it's Tamika Bowden Public Charter School and I want to evaluate all cooking, then I would have to create a SMART goal that allows me to specifically talk about my program in that way. So each school has an opportunity to do that in the
Are there
spring.
categories that the goals must fall in, or they really have the full freedom and latitude to determine what that SMART goal may be?
They have their standards, I guess is the best way to say it. Their standards. So like they cannot, there's a level of rigor that has to be within the goal.
Okay.
And if they don't, there's also a goal bank, and they get to work with a consultant that directly helps them chisel that idea out to be a rigorous goal that they're evaluated on.
Okay. And do we have any idea of what is the percentage that goal factors in their overall score? So the reason why I ask, as parents are kind of comparing schools and they have these goals that are not universal, just want to have a better understanding of is there a percentage, or is it more complicated calculation than that?
It's a complicated calculation overall, but the school specific performance measures are 5 points.
Got you.
That's easy.
Okay.
What gets complicated is who you serve. There's weighted averages based on who you serve and the demographics of your identities of your population.
Okay, and then we have a question in the chat, and we'll start to take questions. You do not have to put your question in the chat, but you can if you want me to read it. If not, you can just come off of mute and ask a question. And the first question is, could you talk about any supports or resources that are offered to families if a charter is revoked or relinquished?
Yes. We first off, we sit down with the school's leadership, and we have a closure team. That closure team works directly with the school's board and their leadership. There are school fairs that we host. I think to date we've held 3. There's 2 schools that relinquish their charters, so we've held 3. In that process, we work directly with DCPS and My School DC. We have a partnership with My School DC that they show up, and oftentimes they're able to let families complete the application, but select to be able to, provide them a spot if available immediately. And then we also take time to understand the availability at every school, including DCPS schools, so that we can ensure that families are just not selecting schools that don't have spaces available, that they are selecting, they know their options and their opportunity to get in those programs. And then we have enrollment specialists. So we identify all the students on the roster, and then we have enrollment specialists that call every single family to check in on them to say, hey, do you need help? Do you know where your next school community is? And that is something that they do until every student has a seat. So we take time to identify and make sure that every student is in a new school community. And if they've chosen not to attend school in DC, then we like to know that information as well, so that we can make sure that they're unenrolled or taken off rosters in various places. It's a very comprehensive process that takes months to complete.
And to that point, one of those schools is a Ward 7 school, right? That we're going through that process.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
and the other question is, has the charter board considered moving that process up before the My School DC process starts?
Yes, it used to be before the My School DC process, the EdFest Open. We are working through those kinks. It's a data thing. This is our first year of actually having data, new systems. We are now working more closely with OSSI, where data goes directly to them. So we'll work through that kinks. I think we haven't one, it's possibly going to be another year, but we are trying to figure out other avenues and to be swifter and allow families more time. I will just speak from my personal local immediate experience that closing a school is really difficult for the families. And one lesson definitely learned over the last since Eagle is that families need time to grieve. And as fast as we want to make them move, they need a moment. And sometimes that moment ends up being a few weeks or a month before they can process that they need to go to another school community. So we try to move as fast as we can, but we recognize that we do have to pause and let people grieve.
Okay, question from the chat. Can you inform us if a charter is not equipped to continue before the next 5-year review? What is the process and procedures going forward?
Is not, what do you mean by not equipped?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question. Dawn, do you want to come off and say anything, or do you want me to start
Good-
internally? You can tell me if I'm right.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. If it's not equipped to move forward to have the school, for the kids to be at the school for closure.
So if I'm understanding, so there, from what we were presented, there are reviews every 5 years, but in between the 5 years,
Yes.
right, what happens if a school is not equipped to continue? What is the process and procedure for notification? What is the process and procedure for that occurring if something happens in between the 5-year review cycles?
Yeah, I think the best way to answer those questions is to tell you about what we do in those 5 years. So a school opens, they have to, follow applicable laws in terms of opening, making sure they have a safe environment. Staff checks in on that environment. There's a pre-opening checklist that staff evaluates. During the course of the 5 years, or definitely before they review, they go through an evaluation called a qualitative site review, which is where staff goes in, consultants go in, and evaluate the program from the classroom experience, from the student experience, and provide evaluations. Throughout those 5 years, schools are required to submit lots of information around, do you have a sexual assault policy? Is your staff, is your employment documents up to date? There's just a plethora of information they have to submit. And then there is data checkpoints throughout the way, depending upon what schools what grades they educate. So throughout this process, the school's board of trustees is the governing body in terms of making sure that the school is properly operating, has a strong leader, the leader has support that they need. They have, the board is making sure the academics and the instruction are meeting the school's contractual goals. So, and then we, have work that we do throughout each year. But in terms, I'm trying to, yeah, so that would be the way that we would ensure, and then depend upon what the issue is, there are other things that happen in between there.
Okay, so that's kind of the high level, and then circumstances may be unique where you treat it, but that's the overall process. In the chat, John put the qualitative site review, a link to that so you can see what that is. You raised a really interesting point, and that is that individual charter schools have boards. Can you talk about what their role is compared to the charter school board role?
Yeah, so the School Reform Act that created charter schools in the city gives schools full authority over their operations, meaning who they hire, who they fire, how much they pay those folks, along with their instructional methods. So whether or not the model is, if you want to just cooking all day, and then what curriculum you want to use to educate your students. And those things, the school's board of trustees, so every school has an odd number of board members between 3 to 15. And it's those board members that are responsible for ensuring that there's a strong leader at the helm, making sure there is quality academics. If there is a parent complaint, then how is the school ensuring that parents' voices are heard? There should be public board meetings that school is having that parents can come to and share what they love and what they don't like and what they want to see improve. So they have that. And then the biggest thing that board has is fiduciary responsibility. So making sure that school is financially sound, is spending money properly, and approved by that board.
And how can you find out about when board meetings happen and who's on the board? Are those on websites, or is it a place that the charter board hosts that information? Just wondering.
Yes. So you can find PCSB's board meetings on our website. We meet monthly, sometimes more than that. And then schools, starting July 1, but right now, schools are also governed on the Open Meetings Act. So they're required to post their meeting calendars. But starting July 1, there'll be a page called the Public Information page, which will include tons of information, which it will also include board member names, contact information for at least the board chair and vice chair, and meeting dates. There should be meeting minutes, or sometimes schools put up their actual video. So there should be information. There is information on every school's website, which my team gets to check twice a year to make sure that information is there, those links are working, and you can access them.
And for everyone, John also put the public information policy link in the chat, and we'll make sure that when we send out the after meeting materials, that all these links will be a part of what is sent out. I saw someone come on camera. So Dahlia, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Dr. Dean. Tamika, I'm wondering about that last question as it relates to visuals, because I know, like, if you go to your school's website, you can go to the Public Charter School Board to look up the QSR results, right? You can go to your school's website to look up the board meetings and notes. But is there a visual for QSR that's like the snapshot that they're going to get from Aspire, like something that sort of graphically shows this is how your school has done on QSR for the last 3 years? Because I think to the question that was asked,
Yeah.
you get these snapshots of the academics. You don't know from that snapshot whether a school is going to be shut down or not, because it's academics, it's finances, right?
Yeah.
And governance. So is there a place like a QSR barometer that kind of says your school's been on track for several years on QSR? They're going well, they're doing well.
No, but you raise a good point, Dahlia, which is something I know we've chatted about. And I know on our website, we are looking to revamp our school profile pages to really give you that holistic look, because you need QSRs, but you also need to know the finances along with the Aspire. So that is something that definitely we are looking to launch in January. So I will make sure, Dr. Dean, folks can weigh in on that. But we're using our Parent and Alumni Leadership Council as a sounding board there to definitely have, that's an idea They come up with some really great ideas. That's one of the ideas that they've had. And so we definitely have started to use our school profile pages just to say if a school is on a financial corrective action plan, it's all that information's there. So you can actually see it and don't have to dig through board meeting, live binders to find what happened on the financial front.
Great, thank you.
Are there any final questions? Because we're almost at time. The school that is closing, I got a text asking which school is closing in our board. And it is I Dream Academy.
I dream, yes, public charter
I
school.
Dream. I want to be really correct before I say it out loud. Deeply sad to see them go because of the mission of that school and who they served and the leader, Janine Gomez. So that is one thing. Is there a requirement of charter schools to keep a certain amount of operating reserves and they start to be flagged if they don't? Because we do know in one case, one of the potential reasons that the school kind of closed was because of financial resources.
Yes. Schools have to keep at least 45 days of cash on hand. And then there is like all these other indicators that I won't even begin to get into that the team evaluates monthly. We have started having monthly financial conversations at our board meeting just to be able to elevate so people can start to understand what the indicators are that we look at, but also to know how important, financial stability is just as much as academic stability to the program.
Thank you, Dolly. I think I said it's closing. I did not want to imply it got closed down. So let me correct for I Dream Academy. If that was the impression, they elected to close, but it was not that they were actually closed down. So again, very respected leader from my standpoint, very important mission from my standpoint. And so definitely don't want to disparage in any kind of way. With that being said, this is the last call for questions. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for bringing us. Please send any follow-up resources. We'll capture the links, but if you have other links that you think are also equally as important, when we send out our follow-up email and recap of the meeting, we'll send out the materials and make sure all those hyperlinks are there to everything that you send us, okay? Well, thank you. Thank you, and have a good holiday weekend, because indeed it is going to be a holiday weekend. So with that, I want to continue to move through the meeting. And at this time, I want to bring forward our state board rep, Eboni-Rose Thompson, to provide updates.
Hold on. I'm doing Zoom on the phone today. Because I guess I have one more stop to make in meeting times. I was doing really well.
Well,
There we go. I'm good.
Okay,
All right.
you good? Okay.
I'm good. Because I have one more stop to make. Good evening, everybody. If we've not met, my name is Eboni-Rose Thompson. I do represent Ward 7 on the State Board of Education. We actually had our public meeting last night. It's always the third Wednesday of the month. I will say I am still exhausted from that meeting. That was a rough one. We had a great topic, which was actually homeless students in schools. We have a lot of students who we might not think of as homeless, but do not have a steady place to be each night. So maybe they're doubling up with a family. Maybe they're moving around a bunch. Maybe they're staying in a hotel. And those are students we absolutely need to be supporting. And so that was our expert panel topic last night. That being said, we also had a really intense conversation about pre-K and Ward 3, which I suspect will be ongoing. We also ended our meeting early and did not vote on the matters before the board having to do with charter school athletics, pre-K and Ward 3, and there might be one other thing. Because the shooting at the Jewish Capitol Museum is a block away from the state board offices, and our chambers also are used by MPD to do press conferences. So we had to leave abruptly. I do apologize to anyone that was, inconvenienced by that. I especially feel for folks who literally like walked out into that, and some people did have little kids with them and saw some of what is going on. So last night was a rough one, but we're here. A couple of things coming up that I want people to pay attention to. So first, it is time for us to redo the high school graduation requirements. Last month, I got the board to approve a task force, so we will be launching in short order recruitment for that task force. There will be an application that is for educators, community members, young people. So if you're interested in this topic, if you're the person who's like, hey, we should have more CTE, if you're the person who's like, I care about SPED kids graduating with a diploma, if you're the person who's like, my kid's a prima ballerina, I don't know why they have to take PE. I don't know what your thing is, but chances are you do care how prepared our kids are when they graduate from school. So this is a topic for you. It will be the big conversation before the board this year. So you do have a avenue as a community member to be part of that conversation. And myself and Representative Henderson will be chairing that task force. So as soon as those applications are available, I will share them with you. I will also share our student applications. So those are live now. As you all know, we have 4 student representatives on the State Board of Education, and we do make room for East of the River students. So that application opened May 15th and will stay open, I think, to June 15th, maybe 30th. I will double check and make sure I'm sharing the right dates. But it is open to sophomores and above. Does not matter the type of school. DCPS, charter, parochial. We've even had some homeschool students who have applied. You do have to apply to be a student representative. If you are not the kind of student who wants to sit on the dais and hang out with me, I can understand. We also have a student advisory committee. Those applications are open as well. We do welcome at this point close to 80 students to the student advisory committee from all across the city. And they do weigh in on every piece of policy that we pass. They are full participants in the board. So I think of that as a good opportunity. And if you choose to do a student rep, not only will you get community service hours, our student advisory committee members also receive community service hours, but our student reps do receive a scholarship, $1,000 for each year of service. So that is my plug for the student advisory committee. I've been on a couple school visits this week. Got to hang out with DC scholars to see their high impact tutoring earlier. And I know Dr. Dean mentioned it is Mental Health Awareness Week. Was able to join CW Harris for their kickoff earlier this week. So it's, it's a lot of bad news out here, but there's also a lot of really great things happening in Ward 7 schools. Feel free to reach out to me. My email is my name, Eboni-Rose.Thompson@dc.gov. I'm always happy to get back to folks and be supportive where we can. I saw something in the
Are
chat.
there questions? What are the requirements to be on the student advisory committee?
Student advisory committee are the same. You have to be a sophomore or higher in grade. Again, any type of school. So DCPS, public charter, parochial, homeschool, All options are available. And yeah, that's about it. And you have to show up on a regular basis. They meet once a month. They also this year have chosen to do their report again, which I'm really excited about. But if they are available to come to a meeting once a month, they can be on the student advisory committee.
Are those meetings in person or virtual?
They might be hybrid. So that's up
Okay.
so here's the other thing. The student advisory committee meetings are run by our student representatives.
Okay.
And so it is up to them. And so the students make a lot of these decisions themselves. They do meet and have a space at 441, same space we use for our working session, which does have hybrid capabilities. So they have been able to meet hybrid recently, but I can't say that the student reps for next year will make the same decision because it's up to them. We also do support students with transportation, especially our student representatives, given we often have late night hours, and I don't catch the Metro home from Judiciary Square when we get out at 10 p.m. And so now I guess it's been like when I was president, I got us to do Ubers. So they have their own Uber account, so they get home safely. So if you're thinking, my kid's gonna be coming from wherever, I don't know how they're gonna get back and forth, being in these long meetings, don't worry about it. We will make sure your young person gets home safely of no cost to them.
Excellent. And you said something about a report. That is also their decision, right? To issue a report every year or not? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so that is how they what work they do, so what they focus on, and how they choose to highlight it is their decision. This year, our students have actually chosen to bring certain things before the board. So like we voted on a resolution last month around calculators in schools. So like for me, when I was a kid, I think it was like T189 graphing calculators that I needed for advanced math. Our students said, hey, if we're going to increase access, we also need to make sure the students are resourced to do that. So we had one of our student reps spearhead a resolution about that. We've had students bring things around indoor air quality. So what they focus on is their choice. They can do a report if they want. Last year, the Students' Big Initiative actually was about registering other students to vote, which is not a report, but it's still awesome. And so I believe they are finishing up their annual report now. I'm excited to see which of their work they showcase. But that Student Advisory Committee is completely student-led by the student representatives. And honestly, their meetings run better than the adult meetings do.
It's never the student. It's never the students.
They're amazing. They are amazing.
Ever. It's the issue about students. Okay, just in reminding everyone that in March, at our March meeting this year, we actually had Superintendent from IC, Superintendent Mitchell, and she came and talked about the high school graduation requirement process and the discussions. If you are interested in getting up to speed in advance of continuing that conversation with the state board, please go to our YouTube channel, which you'll be able to see at the end of the meeting. View the video from that. It was quite a robust and informative conversation. Thank you. Thank you much. And that is, are there questions from anyone before we move on?
All right. Good evening, everybody, and thank you. Oh, and if you see Superintendent Mitchell, she is Superintendent Mitchell now. She was unanimously confirmed by the council.
Right. When she was with us, she was interim, but in between there and now, she became the affirmed. Okay, thank you. And now we're going to just vote on our officers. We're going to open up the polls in a few seconds, and you can, it's a 4-question poll. Please take the poll, and we will we'll be announcing the results. And later on, also, yeah, we'll be announcing them. We'll probably announce them tonight because I don't think we're going to wait. Anyway, with that being said, I want to launch it, and you can start to vote, and you can also push the button, and you can get the QR code and I see that's why I was hesitating, because you can actually vote through a QR code, and I want to give people that.
Dr. Dean, can I just make a correction? So on here, it says Vice Chair Christina Hones. My last name is actually Jones with a J.
I am so sorry.
It's okay. I just want to make sure people know who they're voting.
Okay.
That is helpful because I do know a Christina Jones. And I'm happy to vote for her. I have a quick question. One of the questions is about the consolidation of the secretary positions. I don't know if you all wanted to say anything about that, just so folks are aware.
Yes, so in the past, we've had a corresponding and a recording secretary, but now with the advent of technology, AI, and recording of all our meetings and having AI transfer for every meeting, there was a recommendation that those positions be consolidated to just all the functions, because none of them are what we would consider overwhelming. And so that is the reason there was a discussion to consolidate. And that is just to move the conversation forward. It doesn't mean that that's what we're going to do tonight, but we want to definitely get a sense of where people are on that one.
No worries, that's helpful. It makes sense. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. With that, okay. So what I am going to do also is going to send out a follow-up and just allow the QR code also for additional elections. We'll keep it open through next week, just so that people can weigh in and no one will feel that they were excluded from the process. I apologize. I am still getting texts for people who are saying I'm registered, but there was this loop. I do not understand why you would have to re-register. Once you register, you're supposed to be registered for everyone. And that's another reason why I want to make sure that I send that out, and I don't just close the polls at this time. But so thank you. Thank you all for your participation on that. And then, are there any upcoming events that we want to talk about? Anyone?
Hi, Dr. Dean. This is Deandra from the DME. I wanted to share that we are launching or have launched an art competition for all of our students across the district. I can pop that information in the chat, but it's a great opportunity to highlight our young artists across the district, and we're going to be accepting digital art, drawings, and paintings. And that's for, again, DCPS, private, and charter school students, not excluding our adult learners. So I'll share that information in the chat now.
Please, please do. Thank you very much. Are there other events or announcements?
Just a reminder that the PTO boot camp is going to be on June 14th. Was that right? June. There we go. Yes, June 14th. I am actually still working on the rec center confirmation because they're a new rec center. Their portal still isn't up. So I'll just be going over there this week to make sure it's all set up. Also, just wanted to highlight that our council member Wendell Felder did attend the Elsie Whitlow Stokes East End Public Charter School PTO meeting this month. And the parents were super engaged. I will leave it at that. We are
All I
very glad
can
he
say
showed
is
up. Yeah, and was
healthy
able to
folks
answer
are
questions.
always engaged. So
I have
that's
a clarifying
something,
question.
I was just gonna say, but you guys are always engaged. So that's not an
Yeah,
anomaly.
it
That's
was,
what
we had 70 parents register
Wonderful.
the PTO meeting. So it was a lively group.
okay, wonderful, wonderful.
Flag
I heard
something
two
that
other
doesn't
words. I heard
flag something that I'm not quite sure where it fits, and maybe I should have included my SBOE update, but so Chisholm, Shirley Chisholm's I guess PTO is pushing to be I don't know, ed campus, a dual language ed campus. They did reach out to me. They've also reached out to Brandon Best, who is my Ward 6 colleague. I think a larger conversation needs to be had because some of the language they're using is very much about 6, 7, and 8. And I'm not so sure that there's been a conversation across 6, 7, and 8. And so I just want to flag that because I know that there are folks who not just live in 7, but are attending dual language schools in 7, who have a vision for dual language middle school opportunities in Ward 7. And I think there's like I said, it's a larger conversation I think that needs to be had. We need to have when we're thinking about where we put things and for who. But I do want to flag that is an ongoing conversation right now.
Dr.
Yeah,
Dean, can I add something to that?
please.
I have former colleagues at Houston Elementary School, the school leadership team, and I reached out to them honestly directly when I heard Chisholm talking about that, to see how engaged Chisholm has been. So I agree, like the language, want to make sure that they're not using our Black and Brown communities to get what they want during their modernization process. That are in Ward 7 and 8. Because on one hand, there is no middle school space for 6, 7, and 8. And the understanding is that Chisholm is up for modernization before the other campuses. So I don't know if it's very interesting, but Houston is like sort of aware, but it's unclear how they're actually engaged in the process with what Chisholm's trying to accomplish.
Can I
So,
add a little bit of clarity too? I'm sorry.
oh, of course.
So this has been a conversation that we at Stokes have been having since the last school year with DME. We actually, that's how I became the president at Stokes, is because I helped lead the middle school advocacy committee last year. And Stokes has been in communication with Houston, Global Citizens, and there's one other school that I'm forgetting in Ward 7 and 8 to push for a dual language immersion program east of the river. We have been in conversations with all the schools, have been in conversations with each other on the PTO level because we see this as a parent push. We know that there are some political reasons why the schools aren't pushing certain things, which is why the parents who live in these wards are really getting together to advocate for things. Chisholm approached us maybe about 3 months ago because they are putting together a survey. Yes, they do want to bring a dual language immersion middle school to their school modernization. Yes, they are a part of the conversations with our PTOs, even though they are across the river. We want to make sure that we are coordinated in our language without damaging any of our Ward 7 and 8 kids. Sometimes it's better to work in collaboration so we can steer things in a way that makes sense. But they are working, we all are working together, even though we all may have a little bit of a different perspective of how to get what we need. But there was a meeting recently. We do invite other PTO parents who are interested in having these conversations. I just saw some email traffic yesterday between Chisholm's PTO folks, Houston's PTO folks, and Stokes PTO folks. So please reach out to me afterwards if you all want to be included in that conversation.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I was invited to basically the equivalent of the Ward 6 Ed Council, to hear about Chisholm's proposal, their desire to expand from elementary to a K-8, and also have been contacted by PTOs of and members of various schools who are impacted by the lack of the next level of a dual language immersion option in close proximity to Ward 7 schools. And so there's been a lot of conversation. I mean, if you look at our newsletter, we talk about it, that we've been engaged in this conversation on many different levels. It was a part of the school boundary and student assignment task force or committee, I think it was called, that I was a part of. And we had conversations about Winston in particular, what it could and should be with the DME and DCPS in 2022. I've had a number of conversations with people in the DME's office and with DCPS around this most recent set of conversations around dual language and what should and shouldn't happen, and how that folds into or does not fold into the conversation around Winston. And I will say that in the conversation that I had when I was invited to the Ward 6 conversation around Chisholm, I was a little disappointed that I didn't think that they were as open to supporting an option on the east side of the river. They felt like they had the most momentum because their modernization is coming up. And so they were going to continue to push for that and ask for an addition, added programming. So yes, and because of all this conversation is the reason why we spoke about it in our newsletter, to raise it again, to put it back on people's radar, because it is going on and we want people, whatever your position may be, to be informed and engaged, because other communities are engaged around this issue, and we want everyone engaged too. To that end, the deputy mayor is actually coming to our June meeting. And so we do expect and hope that this part of the conversation will continue at that meeting, and we'll continue to have that conversation and figure out what are the unintended, intended consequences of any decision or choice that is made. But my personal opinion is that that school should be east of the river. Specifically, I'm going to be even more narrow in Ward 7, and I want to figure out ways to support that happening. And so that is a kind of a 5-year conversation distilled to a few minutes, and hopefully we can definitely all come together and have the conversation so that we can really put forth a robust proposal by the parents who reside and the students who go to school east of the river. And we're equally as coordinated as other communities are. So I'm glad we had this conversation. It was not planned. It was more planned for our June meeting, but it is good to be informed. So thank you all for who are engaged in the conversation. We believe in engagement, and we want people engaged in these very important conversations about their children and their communities. I want to check the chat and make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. Okay. I don't think I have. So with that being said, I think we did all the announcements along with the events, but there might be additional announcements that some might want to make.
How do you pay dues, Marla?
Good question. So we have not collected dues since COVID, and we need to start to collect dues. We've been very fortunate to have a funder who has been able to fund our activities, but our dues are $10 for the year. And I wanted to raise the conversation of putting dues back out there and as an expectation for the 25, 26, I'm rushing, school year, that we'll go back to being a dues paying organization, and it will be $10 as outlined in our bylaws. So in the future, we'll have a link and you'll be able to pay, okay? But this is not necessarily necessary for this year. But thank you for raising that issue. Any other questions, announcements?
Well, Marla, this is Jimmy Williams. I just wanted to make one brief announcement about the Washington Literacy Center study, and I believe some of you have already received it. And it's focusing on adult literacy rates in wards 4, 5, 7, and 8. The findings aren't anything new, they're disappointing, but it does focus on the increased rates of adult literacy in those wards. There are others in all other parts of the city, but it points that out. So anyone can email me for that. It's also on the Washington Literacy website. And it does dovetail with our request for more funding than what we requested to be able to bring those services to all over the city, and a special focus on those wards. So I just wanted to again mention it, but you can find it on the website washlit.org.
And if you provide us with the link to the report, we'll make that as part of the resources that are the report out from this meeting.
I'll be glad to.
Thank you. I saw something in the chat. Oh, there is a DMV art contest. Okay. Or am I just too far? Oh, there's the link. Okay, thank you. I'm kind of behind on the chat, so I apologize. Okay, for the good of the order. Okay, and I do want to end the poll and share the results as of now. But again, I do want to be clear that I think because there were some technical difficulties, I want to give some time through the QR code for people to continue to. Okay, answer. But right now we have agreement on who our new vice chair will, I mean, not new because she's actually will continue, Christina Jones, and parliamentarian Jimmy Williams. So thank you all, and we appreciate you for your work. And these are the ways that you can get in touch with us. Remember, our meetings are the fourth Thursday. Remember our YouTube channel. Since the State Board Rep Eboni-Rose Thompson talked about the high school graduation requirements, I want to remind everyone to go to our YouTube channel and view our meeting from March 2025 with Superintendent Mitchell. That was the subject of that conversation. It was very robust, learned a lot. I'm sure it will make you well prepared for the ongoing and upcoming conversation. You see all our social handles. Stay connected, and we will see you on June 14th for the PTO training. More information to come, and we'll see you on June 26th for our final meeting of the year. Thank you very much. Appreciate you all. Have a good evening.